Hey babes! David's family was kind enough to let us go on a trip with them to Siesta Key, Florida a couple weeks ago during spring break. I was terrified. If I can't even explain to you in words how terrified I was of this trip for several reasons. One being she was 4 months old and was just getting into 4-month sleep regression. Number two, schedules, the heat, sand, the unknowns. I had no idea how Talia was going to deal with this. She was born in Buffalo winter, never had been outside other than like the quick to the car and back because it was still snowing here in Buffalo. And honestly, just the equipment, the amount of stuff that I thought I would have to bring to be successful with a 3-4 month old on a trip. So I'm going to be bust down some of my tips and tricks and things that she loved to do, some things that worked for us, and maybe it'll work for you. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's start from the very top. Getting to the airport. We had a lot of stuff. We were packed into a car. It was tight. We were hot and bothered. We had a lot of stuff. Pack light. I can't even say this again. Pack light. So David had a backpack carry-on. I had a rolling suitcase carry-on with all of Talia's stuff. And then we both had big suitcases for each of us. We probably could have gotten away with one big suitcase for David and I and just the carry-on for Talia, maybe an extra carry-on for the hotchkiss stuff that you bring home. Is hotchkiss even a word? Tchotchkes? Whatever. That's what we did, and that's what I would fix. If you and your husband can share one big suitcase, that is a game changer. Also, something that I thought was completely overrated, but my mom let us borrow one of her suitcases, is one of the spinner ones where the wheels go every which way. This makes a world of difference, and it sounds so stupid, but David and I have really old luggage. I don't even know, probably 12 years old. And if we didn't use my mom's suitcase, we would have been, oh, there's Talia. Let me grab her. Hi. 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 Say hi. She's just starting to mimic hi, so we're working on that, right? So where was I? If you can afford to invest into new suitcases with the spinner wheels, if you already have them, good for you. Right? Good for you. She's gonna pull on mommy's hair now. Okay, while you're moving throughout the airport, the best way to go about it is either Talia in her stroller, I'm pushing her, or her on me in a baby carrier. I wore my baby katan with her the whole trip. It was so nice and easy because it's fabric. It takes 2 seconds to put on. And she loves it. She loves looking at people when she's facing outward. And it just made a world of difference going through security. So that's the key. To go through security, you have to baby wear. They will go through every bag, every stroller, every ounce of liquid that you have with you, including breast milk. They'll test your breast milk or your formula. So if you have that pre-prepared, they will test that. There's a way of doing that. So the easiest way is to have her on you in case she needs you. They have you walk through the regular detector with her in tow. And then they'll go through your stuff separately. So that is for sure the easiest way. Do not try and have your baby in the stroller. It's a hot mess. I saw a ton of parents try to do this and then they were tearing apart their stroller and Caesar in separate airports. So we checked as much luggage as we could. We were allowed a certain amount and then we had to pay for bags to be checked. So we didn't want to check a ton, but we were able to check some of our carry-ons underneath the plane when we got to our gate. That is a huge game changer too. So make sure if your airline allows you to check your carry-on and you don't care that it gets stuck under the plane, if you don't need anything out of it, I highly recommend you to do so. So I checked our rollaway luggage that had all of Talia's clothes in it, because in her diaper bag that I carried as a purse, I had everything that we needed. I had our passports, our itineraries, any stuff for her, food, etc., milk, and some crinkle toys and different things for her to do on the plane in case she had a hard time. So I would highly suggest check as much as you can so you don't have to deal with that inside the aircraft. It's a pain in the butt having to put like 6 bags up and then people are waiting for you, and it's stressful enough. Don't add more bags onto your plate. So that's the airport. That was the easiest part for her. A lot of people said make sure that you're feeding her or she has a pacifier during takeoff and landing because the cabin pressure for her ears. She was not affected by that at all. She did fantastic in the airport. So I highly suggest if your baby takes a pacifier, make sure that you have one readily available. But she didn't seem to need it either way. There was a lot of babies on the flight, so it was a lot of fun to see what babies needed what. The lady across from me was breastfeeding during takeoff. A baby like 5 rows back was screaming, so you never know what your baby's gonna do. Just all you can do is be prepared, right? I gate checked my stroller and car seat along with base. I'll tell you how I did that. All for free, so I didn't have to pay for any of that. A stroller, car seat, and a base, along with my roller carry-on. I gate checked that as well. I was able to do that. When we get off the airplane, they bring your stroller up to the tarmac or whatever they have. They bring the stroller up and everything that you gate checked at that point, not the baggage that goes with the regular baggage, but everything that's supposed to come off, like the stroller, so on, they'll bring up. And I opened that baby up. I kept her in my carrier, and then the other carry-on bags we just piled right on top of that stroller, and we pushed everything to our rental car. It was so easy. This literally took one hand. I ended up getting a new stroller, especially for this trip, and I am so glad that I did. I'll explain what stroller I got and why it's so important. That was the easiest way without a doubt. If you have several people flying with you, we had my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my husband and I and Talia. We just stacked as much as we could. We had extra hands, which was fantastic. Oh, and I forgot I had my father-in-law carry my pump, my electric pump, in a bag. Thank you. You are a real man. I probably shouldn't have brought that, and I'll explain that later on too. So we're done with the airport. The airport was really easy. It was just like, how do you carry so much baggage? And the key really is pile it on top of the stroller and or pack super light. Use backpacks because that allows you to have something on your back and your hands. And absolutely baby wear. I can't even stress how important that is. Going through security check is so much easier when you're baby wearing. So as for the actual trip, she was 4 months old. We had just started solids. She's taking cereal and some purees at that point. So when we got to the condo, I ended up, my mother-in-law went out and got a few things of food, and then I did as well, along with the cereal, the baby cereal. We're using the oatmeal baby cereal. So I ended up bringing a travel high chair. It's all cloth and fits over any chair. It's pretty universal, and it is amazing. I absolutely loved that high chair. I would recommend for anyone to buy this themselves or register for it. It's super helpful, and even still, it just like allowed her to sit up without having to like worry about her without somebody holding her. So if somebody was doing their hair or whatever, if we're just in the kitchen mixing up her food, she was safe on there. I know she was safe. And it was just so darn easy, and it packs flat because it's all cotton, which is fantastic. We decided for this trip that we were going to co-sleep. I know, some of the moms are like, co-sleep. It's just what comes natural to us. We're used to it. We don't roll on top of her. I don't know what all these people are talking about. When you're sleeping with the baby, you are so conscious of what's going on. David's a super heavy sleeper. He's never had an issue while Talia has been in bed with us. So I say pooey on you guys, and co-sleeping sometimes is best. So we planned to co-sleep for this trip, and we learned, obviously when you're on vacation, you're with family, you don't want to go to bed right away. So here comes the stroller. We ended up buying a Graco Air 3 stroller, and it is so awesome. I can't even tell you how in love with the stroller I am. So the stroller has the capability to pull down all the way and become a flat bassinet for somebody even larger than Talia's size, because the feet can extend outward if they have to. The stroller feet go up and it creates literally a bassinet inside the stroller. So I would end up putting her in bed in there, like come 6:30, 7 o'clock when she got cranky. I would feed her, I would put her in the stroller as the bassinet, and she would sleep in that for the first shift. I call it the first shift of the night, which is usually 7 to 2. And then she would wake up at 2 a.m. and then I would end up bringing her in bed because it was just easier at that point. But she loved that bassinet. It was awesome. So not only did my stroller work as her bed, really, so it was her bed, her stroller, a makeshift high chair if I needed her to, because it also goes all the way up straight with no incline for those older kids. And in the Florida sun, she was able to sleep in that outside. The hood goes all the way over, so there's absolutely no sun touching her, and they had like mesh parts on the top part to allow airflow into that portion. So I can't even, hands down, Graco Air 3 is the stroller to get. If you can afford the more expensive model of this, get it. It's called Graco Modes, I believe. I am in love with that stroller. Unfortunately, I couldn't drop like $400 right before a trip, so this was the cheaper option for us, but I am so happy that we did it. It's not crazy light. It's probably 15 to 20 pounds, so it's not awfully heavy. It has 4 wheels, but like in the I don't know, the triangle, it looks like it has 3 wheels, but it really has 4 because that first wheel is 2 connected together. We were able to push it on the sand, no problem. We took it on the beach. We took it everywhere. I am so glad that we got this stroller. I highly suggest it. So she would sleep in her, you are a drool monster. She is drooling so much. So I highly suggest that stroller. I highly suggest the high chair. The high chair was just so easy to deal with. Look at this bed head. And the airport. So the only other thing that I think is super important, especially if you're traveling with a young child, like Talia was 4 months, I would say like 6 months and under, and you're still definitely in that the infant car seat, not in a convertible yet, is to bring the base, because then you can snap it out. When you go to restaurants, you can keep her in the car seat. I think that's super convenient instead of hooking the whole thing up every single time. You're really supposed to only bring your car seat and your stroller to gate check. What I did, I just snapped that baby right in there, so it was all one piece, and they couldn't really tell me no, which was fantastic. And when I was traveling with it inside the airport, I kept that snapped in too, so I just threw everything on top of the stroller there, and it kind of looked like it fit, but not really. So I just shoved it on there, and we were able to bring the base for free. So that was fantastic. That's really it. Otherwise, just make sure that for your season, you're dressing appropriately. For her age group, we weren't supposed to use sunscreen yet, so I got a lot of big hats, and we got rash guard. And we spent a lot of time in the pool. She loved the pool. Her age, she didn't really love the beach. She didn't like the feeling of the sand, which I understand. It's a texture thing. So she's never been in anything like that before, so I'm not surprised that she didn't like that. But so the sun she wasn't a huge fan of. We kept her out of it, but we did buy a pool floaty from Target for $20 that she absolutely loved. So all in all, it was a good trip minus her sleep. She kind of hit her sleep regression right then, so it was a big growth for us. But we came back doing a lot of new things, and it was nice to spend time with family in nice weather, because we were so over this Buffalo weather, right? It was just so yucky here. So that is all, and thank you. And I hope if you guys are going on the trip that it goes well. Don't stress yourself out like I did. It's not worth it. It really went way better than I thought it would, minus her schedule. I probably should have stuck to her regular schedule, like at home, a little bit better. I don't know why. When you're on vacation, you just think you're on vacation, but really babies need to keep to their schedule, and I learned that the hard way. Another thing that you guys should do if you're going on vacation with your little, and especially if they're I would say probably like 3.5 months or older, we went to the aquarium in the area and she loved it. She loved all the fish and the aquarium and the blue and the water. She was so into watching it. She loves aquariums and fish tanks. So I am so glad that we took the time to do that. That was something that she could actually enjoy. And it was air conditioned inside, which was nice, right? And Daddy got to touch the stingrays. Little things like that can make it a lot more enjoyable because that's something I'll never forget, her watching all the fishies. So if you're in the area of a zoo or an aquarium, do one thing that is baby friendly for her, because maybe she doesn't like the pool or maybe she doesn't like the sun, whatever it might be. It just makes the trip a lot more enjoyable when you get a really good memory like that. Trip, comment below. I want to know where you guys are going. And yeah, that's it for now. Goodbye. Say bye. Bye bye. Love you. Mwah. Bye babes.